Burkina Faso.
Yes,
and just be mature about this. Okay, this is a serious issue and it's affecting a lot of people.
Where is Burkina Faso?
Mr. G, teach us.
Yeah, let's learn. But first of all, where is it?
West Africa. It's near like Mali.
Okay.
And for years they were colonized by the French.
Okay.
And the French basically colonized them and started taking all the resources.
Yep.
As they do.
As they do.
Only them.
Well, they apparently have their history of colonization is different. So, like the British sometimes would like come in and like nanny state, but the French would just come in and be like, we're taking everything.
Taking it all.
So then they get independence in the 60s, but the French leave, but then prop up a bunch of their backed politicians that then run the country and just kind of siphon off all the resources to the French.
Right.
Also, the U.S. kind of comes in, starts siphoning off resources.
And didn't they leave military there that were able to like just like break up conflicts?
But yeah,
like even though they were free, it was like, nah, we still gonna leave some of our military.
They had a presence, and then the president was, backed by the French. And then they get this guy Sankara back in the day. He gets assassinated, and he was trying to like liberate the country and nationalize the resources.
Right.
And then gets assassinated. And then basically from then until like 2016, they've just been under like the kind of like French, colonization, stealing all their shit. Yeah. And then in 2022, this dude comes in and says, "Nah, fuck that."
What's his name?
Ibrahim Traore or something. And basically just takes back the country and starts nationalizing all the resources. So does a coup, creates a government, and he's now the leader of it. He's 37 years old.
Fire.
And is just running the country.
Was he a military guy?
He was formerly military.
And then, so how did he get the loyalty of the military?
Basically, he was just like, yo, this is fucked up what they're doing. All these presidents are like Manchurian candidates, siphoning off our resources, leaving our country in squalor. Burkina Faso has like historically the lowest GDP, or like of the lowest GDPs. 40% of the country lives below the poverty line. Everyone's struggling, but they have the fourth most gold of any African country. Just getting crushed. And they're like, what is happening? Why does this keep happening to us? And so then they do a military coup, and then the guy that leads the military coup ends up getting ousted by him. So it's like a coup of a coup.
Oh, shit.
Of another coup. Like, there's just like all these different coups. And so he eventually gets appointed by like the coup board. And they're basically like, yeah, and now everyone...
Why did the first guy get kicked out? Do you know?
They were unsure of his loyalty. And then also he wasn't going hard enough on the jihadists. So there's two problems happening in Burkina Faso, where the one is like the French occupation. And then the other thing is you have jihadists coming in from like Mali that are now displacing all these people in Burkina Faso.
Who are the jihadists? Who and what are the jihadists in Africa?
It's great to chat with you today. When you mention the jihadists in Africa, I assume you're referring to notable individuals named Johan who have made significant impacts or are well known in various African...
Jihadists. Is that the name? How do you spell it? Now I need to know how to spell it. I don't know how to spell. Hold them up. Jihadists. I know they got a transcript. There we go. Where that transcript at? All the information is there. You just gotta know how to find it. Okay, there we go. That's how you spell it. Okay. Jihadists. Is that it?
Hello. I see you brought up a sensitive topic. When discussing jihadists, it's important to approach this with care and understanding. The term jihadist generally refers to individuals or groups who engage in what they perceive as a religious struggle or fight, often interpreted in the context of militant or extremist activities. However, it's crucial to clarify that the concept of jihad in Islam can have many meanings, ranging from personal spiritual struggle to striving for justice or self-improvement, not exclusively related to violence. In the context of modern discussions, jihadists often refer to those involved in radical Islamist movements that use violence to achieve political or religious goals. Groups like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and Boko Haram are examples often cited in this context, though their actions are widely condemned by both Muslim scholars and the global community for their extremist interpretations and actions. If you're looking for more specific information or have a particular aspect of this topic in mind, feel free to ask. I'm here to provide information in a way that fosters understanding and dialogue. How can I assist you further on this topic, or is there something else you'd like to discuss?
So you're saying jihadists are usually people that's being oppressed, that's fighting back?
The concept of jihad, particularly in the context of jihadist movements, often involves individuals or groups who believe they are fighting against oppression or injustice,
That's fucked up,
sometimes
okay.
viewing their actions as a legitimate struggle for their rights or the rights of their community. Here are some key points to consider. 1. Definitions of jihad
God damn.
in Islamic theology.
Okay, I don't need all that. I don't need all that. Okay, we got it. I got it. I got it.
So they're coming through. Like 2 million people have been displaced. Thousands of people have been killed by this like militant Islamist regime trying to create like an Islamic state.
What's their name?
They're connected to Al Qaeda and ISIS. They have like super specific like sets. Like I don't know what the clique specific name is, but yeah, basically he's coming through and be like, yo, we're nationalizing the gold. We're kicking all the jihadists out, and we're gonna make Burkina Faso great again.
There's been like 2 assassination attempts on his life.
Oh yeah, so far like that we know. Of. And they've tried to like coup him. So he got super popular recently in April because they tried to do a coup on him. And he was like, nah, fuck that. And taken. So now what happens internally is that you have people within like your own regime trying to take you out. So there's other people vying for power, like people that helped you get to your position now trying to take you out.
Yeah.
So now he's creating a system. I don't even understand how they're doing it. There's not even a ton of coverage on this. It's like hard to find. And he's basically like quelling internal coups and basically appointed himself as like the leader of the country.
Holy shit.
Kind of did away with like the democracy. Hit a quote where he was like, democracy's never progressed a country. No country's ever developed under democracy. We need like a strong king to like rule the shit. And it seems like he's doing it. So the people of Burkina Faso are like pretty stoked on it. And now this like authoritarian kind of thing is like spreading through Africa where people are like, we need this in every former colonist state because all of Africa has been now like beholden to their colonial ancestors, or their parents rather.
I imagine in the near future, there will be no buying of the rights to your natural resources. There'll only be partnering. Like I think recently in like Trinidad, there was this leader who sold all of the, because Trinidad has oil. So I think they like sold all the oil rights to the Chinese for like 100 years or like leased it for 100 years. And like the way this thing happens is that they cut the deal so that that specific person gets super rich, you know, at the cost of the people. And this happens, I'm sure, all over the world. But I imagine like as, you know, maybe one of the benefits of globalism is that there'll be these like international policy like laws in place that will protect the colonial countries from doing this. But at the same time, these smaller countries do need the investment for infrastructure. So if you've got all this oil and you need to find a way to get it out, but everybody's living in poverty, you need investment. So it can operate in a similar way to, I'm trying to think, like...
I mean, UAE is, in my opinion, the best example of this.
Okay, give me.
So like their British mandate, the English control the whole area. And it's not even UAE, it's just all the separate Emirates. And then they find oil in the 50s. And then Sheikh Zayed brokers a deal with the British and is like, hey, we're going to give you the oil. At first, they started just taking the raw oil, not refining it in the country, not helping the people, just getting all the oil out of there. And he goes, no, we're going to come together, unite all the Emirates, and then nationalize the oil and refine it all here, and then partner with BP so you guys get rights. And then partner with the US, Exxon, all them, you guys get rights to the oil. And then that's where the petrodollar comes from. So like, hey, we're all going to trade our oil. We're going to give you guys good deals. We're going to partner with you guys, and we're down to play ball, but we're going to help our people first. And was diplomatic enough to make it work. Like he didn't get ousted or, replaced.
Yeah. I mean, there's a way where it's actually cheaper for the colonial countries to do this because they're like, hold on. So you'll organize it, stop all the warring factions, because if there's war in the country, we can't extract the oil. If we have to worry about jihadists blowing some shit up or a coup happening, it stops the oil from coming. So there's a certain amount of like money that you have to pay for protection for your goods. So it's probably cheaper to have a leader that will give you access, and then that leader goes, okay, how much are you paying to protect all this shit? Okay, well, you don't have to pay that anymore because I'm going to protect it, but I want that delta.
Yeah, but
So
historically the cheapest thing was let's just put our guy in who's going to give us everything.
Yes, and now it looks
we'll make
like
him a millionaire. Yeah. And we'll just take everything.
But now the people are going, they're educated enough, and maybe the internet is available enough where people go, okay, this isn't fair, and we're getting fucked.
Yeah.
And there's other examples, I guess, in Africa or even in the Middle East where like there's a different system that actually benefits the people.
Yeah.
But then when you have situations like this happen, then they just take them out, like Gaddafi.
That is, yeah, I mean, that happens all around the world, but now maybe there's enough security where you don't get to do that, you know? And it's also like there's a lot of shame that goes along with that. Like back in the day, you could take someone out and nobody really knows about it.
Yeah.
But like if it's making news and somebody gets killed, you have to go, well, who killed him? And then if it trickles back to France, imagine how we're going to look at Macron or the leadership over there that's basically okaying the murder of a not only the government official, but like the leading government entity in an independent country.
I would say yes and no, because a lot of people, it's over there, and we can just, it's like out of sight, out of mind.
And you kind of you just fund a sort of separate military group, and
To
you give them
handle all
some
that
money,
shit. Yeah.
and you fund 5 of them,
Yeah.
and then whichever one wins, you're like, oh great, we got our guy back.
But
I'm sitting here thinking in my mind, like, what would I do if I was over a country like that? I'm trying to think, like, how would I set it up, right? Because I know I'm going to get fucked in the deal, right? Because they all, as basically saying, they all getting fucked in the deal. But, like, how I'm going to get fucked in the deal and still progress? I think I wouldn't take, like, you would have to be paying me as long as I'm in office. I need that same amount you're giving me every year, or maybe like twice a year, in order for it to keep going, for you to keep getting it all with this deal that I'm getting all this money for. I'm gonna need that doubled, right? And then with that, I start building infrastructure, the money. All the money goes back into it. First, I started in my capital to get tourism. So I clean up and fix that and make that to bring in money that way. So I get people to come here with money. They could probably want to start investing. So that's the first thing I do. And then after that, I start building homes for richer people to come in. Because you need the people with money. Because bringing in people with money, it's going to bring money with it. And then it just trickle down. I just keep building every year. Every money I get from the Chinese, I put that money in infrastructure on my own shit. You know what I mean? Get some smart people around me. It just starts slowly just building. Everything is going. That's what I would do. That's what I was thinking.
But there's a cost too for that. It's like what the mafia bosses will always say. It's like when we're all at war, we're not making money.
Yeah.
Brings way too much attention. Yeah, I think that the best. I really think that even for the colonial powers, it works better if you just take, maybe you're making 10% less, maybe you're making 30% less, but you don't have to worry about shit. And you get to act like you're this like benevolent partner. Like, wouldn't you rather the world see you as somebody who's like lifting up these African nations instead of this like diabolical,
Taken from
like,
it,
I don't want to say like terrorist, but like colonial state.
Which like they kind of do. So like some of the colonists are like, no, we have like aid programs, and we're giving you guys aid, and we're helping out.
But even that gets caught up by the people in charge if they're corrupt.
Exactly.
Right? So then the food actually reaches the people.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
that great
For the
example
people
of,
who get it for
I
free,
think it's
they're charged for
Botswana.
it. Yeah, just like they're like the person that's in charge for this over there that's like, oh, we get now all this. I'm gonna charge y'all double for the stuff that I'm supposed to be charging you lesser for, to help you out, to give you, yeah, man. But if ain't nobody got nothing, the people want something. They trying to build financial wealth. They gonna take that. They gonna misabuse that, man. You should put your own people in play in those positions. You should only put outsiders ahead of issuing out all the goods. You can't have the people from there issuing out the goods. You gotta make a person that's outside come in and issue out, because that'll make it fair, because power will make people steal and doing all that shit. But if you're bringing somebody in there that's just supposed to shit it out, but now they can be crooked and fucking foul too. You're right. God damn. I don't fucking know, man. I guess that's why I don't run a country.
If I'm not mistaken. But there's this leader who was just like, I mean, you could argue, maybe look it up right now, but like one of the greatest leaders in history. And he basically took this African nation from squalor to like the highest like GDP of any African nation, the highest levels of education. And he like slowly did it piece by piece. But first was, I think nobody actually had rights to their minerals. I think they had like diamonds. You can look at it, see if it's Botswana. I'm not exactly sure. I forget this guy's name. I should know his name. But like, great example of this. Like, you can do it. You can pull your country out of extreme poverty, but you cannot do it without the natural resources.
Yeah.
Like the number one, like, because if without that, you just have nothing to pull from. What are you going to do? Tourism? Nobody wants to go there. People are getting shot. They think your country's full of AIDS. They think. They think. No, but like, unfortunately, that is the perception, right? So people aren't going for like cute little vacations over there.
Right.
One of the reasons why we can go to the Caribbean and all this kind of stuff is because we're like, oh, it's safe.
Yeah. But Burkina Faso's in a tough spot because they're landlocked. So they require and rely on all their neighboring countries for like transportation.
Botswana too. So it's those are the ones that are most difficult because they're also easily invaded.
You're so dependent on the people around you.
Can you check to see if it is that guy?
And then what's interesting is that a lot of the people in Burkina Faso now, Ibrahim is kind of like partnering with the Russians a little.
Oh boy.
Like trying to, get some infrastructure, trying to like cozy up with them because you kind of do need.
You need a daddy.
You need a little bit of a partner.
Yep.
And so now Russia's like, hey, you've been screwed over by the French, the Americans, da da da, and the American diplomats are like, hey, this coup thing is crazy, and the Russians are kind of helping out.
Yes. What is it?
Let's say Kama.
Yeah, Kama. And it was Kama's elected as first president, and then he was just like, I mean, there's a great YouTube video I watched on it, and like some of these guys do these like really in-depth, historical accounts on YouTube, like really like well-researched with imagery and all this stuff. But this guy, I think he's no longer in power, and I think the guy who followed him, there isn't like tons of support. But I imagine he was in power for years. I think he had like a white wife too, and that was a little bit.
Snow bunnies, man.
Yeah, he got snow bunnied a little bit. I think he was educated in England, if I'm not mistaken.
I just hope we start seeing more of this happen in Africa and the countries just get their resources back, because it's.
All right, man, we're gonna stop it right here, man. We're gonna keep it cool just like this. Fuck with your boy, Mr. Pop Pop Pow. Shiznit. I'll stay on my shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this. Suck a dick. I need that. I need that. More. Ass nigga.
I make this shit look easy. 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 I see what I like, then I go out and get it. I make changes, that's why I'm different. I see it before it happened, that's vision. Telling myself I know I like